Okay guys, the new PinCab Template Toolkit version 2.2. The previous version was made by Sixto, who kindly gave me permission to go ahead and revamp it so it's a little more user-friendly and some other upgrades as well. So when you download it, this is what you'll have here. And essentially this is 9 different cabinets that you can choose from as your base. And then inside each one of these, if you take a look, you'll have the cabinet that you can choose and then one of the 2 rooms. And so these are the 9 cabinets that are available, and you would choose the one hopefully that matches with the manufacturer that you're trying to add VR to, but sometimes you can just choose any one you want and modify it to make it fit. So once you choose your cabinet, the only other thing you have to do is choose your room, and you have the option of the standard minimal basic room, or the new minimal room, which is a little more deluxe. I would advise you always choose this one. That's only because I put it together. So let's take a look here. We can close out of this. So when you download it, it'll look like this. And if you look inside, what you'll see is you have the cabinet. If you go inside the cabinet, it'll list 3 steps, and that's really all you have to do to add the cabinet. You import these images that are inside this folder, you import these materials, and then you'll take the VR cab that's in this VPX and just copy and paste it into your table that you want to add VR to. So in order to find one that didn't have VR already, I went to the virtual printball spreadsheet, searched up Sega, kept going down until I found one that didn't have VR. And the first one I saw was this golden Q, which is actually a really rare table. I think only 40 something pins were actually made. So anyways, I downloaded that one and we'll add VR to that one. I think most people should be able to do this in just a few minutes, less than 5 minutes. So let's take a look here. So we're going to add the Stern minimal cabinet to it because I know that fits pretty well. So first thing we'll do is open up that golden Q. And if we played it right now, what we would see is that there's no cab, there's no room, it's just the table itself and some blades. So if we go in to the cabinet of the Stern minimal, it'll list these 3 things: import your images, import your materials, and then copy and paste over the cabinet. So let's walk through that. So we will go to Table, Image Manager, Import. We will find that folder, so the Stern minimal cabinet. Go inside the cabinet itself, import images, and you just select all those and press OK. You go to Table, Material Manager, Import, again, Stern minimal inside the cabinet folder, and it says import these materials. And then the last thing, we're almost done, is to actually open the Stern minimal cabinet VPX file. And again, we will restore down so that we can go side by side here. And if you look, if you have this highlighted, if you look over here, there's only 2 things we need to copy and paste: the DMD and the cab itself. So you just double click, and that's all you do: edit, copy. You go to the new one, you create a new layer, and I would just keep the naming conventions the same. So this will be VRDMD. In order to save that name, you just left click and then go to edit, paste. Go back over to the template file, double click the cab, edit, copy, and keep the naming convention the same. Oops, sorry. Minimal cab. And paste it, and that is it. The cab is in there now. How easy is that? Take a look. Now we got a cab. Obviously the artwork would need to be updated to match, but you have the cab, you have the DMD, and if you played it, you can see that the Table fires on. Now you would obviously have to do quite a bit of adjustment. You can see the blades don't match the VR, so you can, that's all things we can talk about later. But the cool thing is that the legs are all level now. Before they had a 3-degree tilt, and each component is separate. So if you were trying to create a limited edition and match all the colors, it's very easy to do that now. So let's say you wanted to change the hinge color. You just go into the cab, go into the hinges, and you just pick a new material, let's say red. And it only changes that one, it leaves everything else intact, which before there were a few components that were all attached together. The one thing about this is that certain times the DMD doesn't work, and that's usually because you're in exclusive full screen mode and you're running the desktop setting. So in those cases, what you can do is just add one piece of script to this, and that's this one here. Use VPM DMD equals 1. And if you add that, you can add it anywhere. Usually I add it at the end of where the game name is. If you add that, and then we were to go back in here, now you'll notice that the DMD is on. So it would have to be adjusted a little bit, but very fast to add that. And then let's say you also wanted to add a room. It's the same process, but even a little bit simpler. You would just go to, let's take a look at the folder again. So if we go back out and say the minimal room basic, let's say we wanted to add that. You go in there, there's 2 steps, import the images and then copy over the basic room, that's it. And so if we go back, we go to table, image manager, import, we go to the minimal basic room, import these images, we'll just import those 4, and then we open the basic room VPX file. We do the restore down button so we can do side by side. You double click minimal basic, you copy it, create a new layer. Try to keep the naming conventions the same just so everything stays organized. And then you paste it, and that is literally it. Now you have your basic room. So now you got the cab, you got the room. You'd still have to do, you'd have to modify the position of some of this stuff, but that's all things we can do later. But you have the basics in place. Let's say you wanted to delete that. You just double click that, press delete. If you want to keep things organized, you'd go into the image manager and you would delete those 4 images that we just imported for the room. And then let's say we wanted to add the deluxe room. We could go to table, image manager, import. To the basic room, we go into the deluxe folder, import these images. There's 3. We would open up the deluxe room VPX file, restore down button, double click, and then edit copy. We would make a new layer. And then paste it in. And that's it. Now you got that deluxe room going on. So check it out. So very cool. Now you can see that it stands out. So you can do a lot of modifications. Go into the cab, go into the, click on the cabinet button itself, and you could change, let's say, the material to something that's more friendly, and then this disable light changes the lighting on it. So you could find a value that kind of fit the room. You could change the back box, same thing. And if you want to save these, you actually, anytime it appears white over here, that means you've made a change. And if you want to save that change, you actually have to click that button and it'll save it in your current file. And once you exit out, you still have to save it here. But pretty quick. Obviously, there's a lot more to go over. Oh, I didn't save the cabinet one. I didn't save the. So that's what happens if you don't press the save button. there. So now we saved it. So if we went out and came back in, it would be everything that we changed. Okay, well that's it. That's how to use it. Couple more things. If you wanted to change the images, so there's a couple ways to do that. So if you go inside the import these images, cabinet images, you can see they're here. So you really could just open this up and paste over these images here, which I have done for this one. It's here. So I just went over and pasted over them. That's one way to do it. The other way is to go into this extras folder, and there's this cabinet art template, Photoshop template, and you can go in and it has different versions of things and some blank, so it's easier to paste over. And you could, now that it's a Photoshop PSD file, you could save it as some higher quality if you wanted to as well. The more important one is the PinCab art template, backbox art template. So if you look at this one, what it has is it has a lot of different DMDs that you can choose in here. And so if you're looking for a certain one, those are all available here and interchangeable. So that's really cool too. And so that's included in the extras folder. And then if you wanted to actually change the artwork, you go to Table, Image Manager, you would find, say, the cabinet, re-import from, and re-import it from here. I actually have the backglass image too, so I'll re-import that. And the last thing is the back box, and I have that here. So just some easy copy and paste stuff, and then all of a sudden you have one that looks like a real VR room, a real VR cab, and once you get the hang of it, really it's only a few minutes. Now, we would need to do some final adjustments, and maybe I'll do another video for that to show you how to move these things around so that it all matches up. And if you were going to do a hybrid table, any changes you make would have to be scripted in. If you're making a VR only room, then you can just move things around and save it like that, and it's good to go. So, okay, I think this should be really helpful, especially for people that are just starting out, because you have your 9 different options of putting your cabin there. They're very interchangeable. You have the 2 rooms that you can choose. And so I hope it's really easy for you guys. All right, that's it. Take care.